Almost Famous Radio podcast with your host, Jeffy McJefferson. Let's go.
Welcome to the Almost Famous Radio podcast. Jeffy McJefferson here, along with old dude and the Ricker, and in spirit, England Dan and John Ford Coley.
You realize that this is the most their names have been said in a 24-hour period ever.
It's been a running joke over the last couple of days. It's these guys that used to sing in the 70s, and they're horrific. And so we've been just doing our little, I don't even know, man. It's a little tribute to England Dan and John Ford Coley. I mean, the names are awesome, right? I don't even know if is one of them English. I don't even know.
If they're still alive, they got mentioned in 2025.
They did.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
And John Ford Coley alive in 25. At least here on the Almost Famous Radio podcast for now. Anyway, I'm way off base of what we're going to talk about today. Because, we got these are two of the golf bros. Let's see what everybody's drinking, El Dude.
All right. I'm drinking a Mac and Jack's African Amber Ale from Redmond,
Loves
Washington.
that amber.
I'm having a winter ale from Ninkasi.
Ninkasi, you can't go wrong there.
Nope.
I've got Meowsa, Georgetown, Seattle, Washington, as my wife would say. But anyway, we all love her, but she does use the wash. She does the wash thing.
It's all right.
I mean, she not only just the wash thing, like if you wash your potatoes before cooking them, she also does squash for squash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does that. So anyway, yeah, and that's who's leading the league right now in the MVP voting right there, the Warsh girl. Anyway, all right, we are actually here to talk about a little bit of football. We got the playoffs in the NFL happening right now. We watched a little bit of the game, to be perfectly honest with you, the Chiefs and the Texans. And then we have the Detroit Lions, we have one of their number one fans, we have actually a real Detroit Lion fan sitting right here
In the house.
named Ricker. Go Detroit Lion fan.
What am I supposed to say?
No, I mean, you've lived in futility for a long time.
Oh, a long time. Long time. Hopefully this year they freaking make it to the Super Bowl.
Think
finally.
they got it?
Man, they're going to have to get through. It doesn't matter how they get there. It's going to be a tough road. I don't think they're going to have an easy time with Washington. And if it's the Eagles that go to Detroit, it's going to be a tough game, man. Freaking Barkley's an animal, and that it's going to be running game against running game.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I just wanted to get a little Detroit love real quick. We'll come back to the NFL playoffs, but we really want to talk a little college football playoffs because we're down almost to the national championship. Well, we are down to the national championship game on Monday with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish against the Ohio State Butt Guys. As there's El Dude, go ahead and tell the Butt Guys story. I love that Butt Guys story. It's awesome. None of us here are big Butt Guys fans, so go ahead.
Well, they became the Butt Guys about 20 years ago when my brother-in-law and I were sitting around watching college football, and he had a little son. I'm going to say 3-4 years old, and he kept hearing on the TV and stuff, Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And we were, talking and stuff. And then when he said that my favorite team is the Ohio State Butt Guys. and when a little guy says, something that he hears and tries to parrot, and all he heard was butt guys. And that's what he said, the Ohio State Butt Guys. So ever since then,
he didn't realize how accurate that was.
No kidding.
He didn't, those kids sometimes have they're prophets. They're prophetic sometimes. Yeah. And so the Butt Guys nickname stuck and have been the Butt Guys ever since. And us being Oregon Duck fans,
you guys,
we have pretty much owned the Butt Guys since then. Well, but
guys,
they are in the national championship game, and we are not.
Because
they got us. They got us a couple weeks ago. Played very, very well, and they deserve everything that they're getting. But I am definitely rooting against them, just because I'm an underdog guy. But I'm also, but every time we say "but" now, we're gonna
guys it.
Butt Guys,
right?
Butt Guys. But I'm anybody but the Butt Guys. Monday night, so I don't care if it would have been Penn State, if it would have been anybody but the Butt Guys, and so I'm going to root for Notre Dame. But if we're going to talk actual football and actual competence and an actual who I believe is going to win, I can't bet against.
Well, we'll get to that.
The Butt Guys.
We'll get to that. I just want to kind of get seeing. Well, Ricker, of course. You've already heard Detroit Lion fan, and obviously Michigan Wolverine fan, right?
Yep.
So your love for Ohio State, the Ohio State University, is
non-existent. Hatred is closer to it.
Hate.
Yeah.
I get that.
Not allowed to go back if you like them.
What do you think about, okay, you guys will call them Ohio State and shit like that. What do you think about those petty bastards down there in Columbus just calling you guys a team up north?
Yeah, it's, but, they get the same from us. I mean, it's not like there's any love.
You call them
lost.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
You don't call them the team from Central Ohio.
Right. But,
just to get on your nerves. That's what they do it for.
That's it. But then that's why they got the freaking, planning at midfield this year. That's,
They did get that this year.
Yeah.
Well,
kiss my ass.
Let's not discount that Ryan Day's playing in the coach of the Butt Guys, is playing in the national championship game, and if he loses, he might lose his job because he can't beat Michigan.
I'll take him in Oklahoma.
It wouldn't. Yeah.
Everybody would take him.
I'd take him in 2 seconds in Oklahoma.
But it just shows you. It just shows you how petty the
rivalry game is.
The Butt Guys fans are.
No, that's the way their fans are. Yeah. They're piles of shit.
I mean, he can't beat the Michigan. I mean, that's a fact. But he may get a national championship, and still
they're going to hate him.
He's still going to be on the way out.
Yeah, right. 1 foot in the grave
because he didn't beat
Michigan. Yeah,
and
at home.
I saw a funny meme that said Ryan Day is the first head coach with a black Sharpie beard ever to make a national championship game.
Okay.
If you look at his beard, it looks like it's painted, it's drawn on with a black Sharpie. Hell, dude, that's what the deal was.
All right.
So yeah, that's what it's all about. So yeah, okay. Getting back to the tournament, did you like the 12-team playoff? Anybody can go first on that.
Yeah, I did. I thought it actually, Alabama can cry all they want. And the understanding that Indiana probably shouldn't have been there. Okay.
kind of agree with that a little bit.
But at the same time, is it going to end up being the best team overall? Probably.
Think?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, okay, so this year, I mean, would it? Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Go for it.
Finish it.
My thought was ended. It was,
So if we had the regular 4-team playoff, people are saying, and it's kind of bogus that, it's going to be Oregon, all the 4 teams, Texas,
right?
All the conference
Georgia.
championship winners, Georgia, and also Arizona State,
right?
And so I honestly, I don't think that's where the rankings would be for the Final Four, and the committee would put those 4 teams in. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
What do you think, dude?
Well, under the previous rules, yes, that's what it would have been. I mean,
No, it wouldn't have.
it was the top 4 teams in the poll at the time, correct?
Well, they were just conference winners, the conference champions that got the buys.
No,
Those 4 teams. Would you really rank Arizona State over Ohio State or anybody else there?
right, but weren't you comparing
No,
the
you wouldn't.
old system where there was 4 now to 12?
No, I was just saying that if it was
Who would have been the 4?
who would have been the 4
Well,
back in the old system? It wouldn't have been Arizona State.
well, it wouldn't have been Ohio State, and it wouldn't have been Notre Dame.
No, it would have been Ohio State.
No, it would have been Oregon.
Let's remember the committee.
But I think it would have been Oregon, Texas, Georgia, and it would have been the
Okay, who's the 4th?
Arizona State. They were they got picked as them and Boise State got picked as to get the bye.
Well, because they had that because of the way this playoff system was set up.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying if it was a 14 playoff like it was last year, and you think it would have been the same 4 teams that got the bye, and Texas would have been out of it.
Well, I think that Notre Dame. Well, the thing about it is what I've read and what I believe is that Ohio State and Notre Dame would not have been one of those 4 teams. Now,
Allegedly.
well, I mean, which one of them would have snuck in at 4?
And that's
Because you would have had Oregon, you would have had Georgia, and you would
that's
have,
it.
well,
Texas probably,
and Texas, and then who was that 4th?
and Texas wasn't the conference champion.
Right, but
Neither was Ohio State.
Arizona State won the Big 12. I mean,
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Jeffy McJ here with a reminder you can check out the cast with pictures and bios on our website. It's going to be at afradiopodcast.buzzsprout.com. Believe it or not, you can send us fan mail there too. You can also stay updated on our Almost Famous Radio podcast page on Facebook. And if you really want to send us the good, the bad, the ugly, also topics you would love us to hit on, we have our email at almostfamousradiopodcast@gmail.com. Let's get back to the show. I think it would have been Oregon, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State if they had the 14 playoff. That's my guess on it.
okay.
They wouldn't leave Ohio State out.
Yeah.
Not on this one.
Yeah, I think you
And
may
then
have a
Alabama
point.
would have been fighting, and Alabama, and then Notre Dame, and all these guys would be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this bullshit, blah 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 blah. We did this, we
Right.
did that, we did the other."
I mean, Arizona State had 1 loss, and they won the Big 12. I think they would have been ahead of a 2-loss.
Sure, it was just 1 loss.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was.
I think they would have been ahead of a 2-loss Ohio State. I do. Ohio State didn't even play in the Big Ten championship,
No, but they've done this before.
but they have. But I mean, just saying what a lot
many
of pundits are saying.
How many times
That they wouldn't have been
has
there.
your conference, the Pac-12, gotten left out because they put an SEC team in or a Big Ten team in. Lots.
Yeah. Too many to count. I mean, if you want to get me on a rant.
I do.
I mean, I'm a big, huge Oregon fan, so I'm a big, huge Pac-12 fan.
That's what we're here for.
I mean, I was a big, huge Pac-12 fan. So, I mean, but your question was how did we like the new 12?
No, I know.
Opposed to the 4.
And you like the 12?
Well, I definitely like the 12. I think there needs to be some tweaking to it. When the 12 came about and when we knew that 4 teams were going to get a bye, it all looked great on paper. I think it was fair. It was, who those 4 teams were, you can debate. And who should have been this year, you could debate. But those 4 teams getting a bye. But what we didn't really understand and realize is that bye was not just a 1-week bye. It was a almost 3-week bye. The bye teams didn't play for 20 days.
Kind of like Ohio State did whenever they finally played their first playoff game after their loss at Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's right. Because they didn't play the championship.
They didn't play the
game.
championship game.
Yeah, but that was only 2 weeks, and then I mean, I just think that the bye people didn't really realize that they weren't going to play for 20 days, and that's a long time for young kids not to play. I think there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of rust that develops, and so my criticism of the 12 is I think that it needs to be 16, and I think it needs to be 1 against 16. Similar to
FCS.
Well, similar to the basketball playoff where there's a final 16. Now I know that they go from 64 plus 2 to 16 in basketball, but what I'm saying is
they play all those at neutral sites.
They do, and I think that I think the teams that played the first round in their home stadium have an advantage going into the next week at a neutral site.
I don't quite agree with that.
Okay. Well,
no, I'm just saying. I just don't.
It's fine. I think there should be a 16-team playoff. I think it should be 1 against 16, 2 against 15, and let's go. Let's start it a week after the season ends, and then go, and then use the New Year's Day bowl games like they did for the quarterfinals, semifinals. Excuse me.
I did like the home field the home advantage on the first round for those that played.
Yeah. So why can't we do 2 rounds of home field?
But in the 12 team you can't.
16. But in a 16 you could.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can. I mean, you can maybe. I think the first round should be at home. I think the rest of them should be neutral site games. If you're gonna put it this way, like the NCAA basketball tournament, and use that as an example, well then you can't have a damn home game all throughout the playoffs until you get damn near to the national championship game. So you play the first round, home games. The rest, if you want to have a 16 team, the rest of them neutral sites.
Well, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with anything that doesn't give buys. I mean, I think you need to earn it. I think you need to win 4 games to get there. And
everybody needs to win the same amount of games to win it. It shouldn't be, that one team can only, can get to the national championship game by winning 2 games.
If you want to do the first round at home and then quarterfinals, semifinals, finals on neutral sites, that's fine. Even the 64 team basketball, the number 1 seeds are in their region. They're like home games.
Okay, but they're in the region.
Close. They're so close.
Well, you could put them in regions, and actually, like you could take, if you want to be honest with you, the Rose Bowl is in Oregon's region. Okay, Ohio State came all the way across the country to play in California, which is right there.
Yeah, but the Pac-12 and the Big Ten have played in the Rose Bowl for many years.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that
the history
that would be.
that,
I'm just using that as an example. Would be that was a regional game, like it would be in the NCAA tournament.
Well, I'm fine with your first round being at home. I think that a layoff of 20 some days against a team that hasn't laid off 20 some days as young athletes. I think if you compare layoffs, the only other playoffs that have buys is the NFL. These are grown men. These are people they're playing now 17 game schedule. That rest is valuable to them, and it's only a 14 day rest. I think when you take young kids and you every week, what makes college football so great is on week 1, they are not playing exhibition games. They're playing real games from week 1. And you got that mentality of getting them ready. They don't have buys. They do have sometimes 1 week buys in the college football season. But they don't go 21 days without playing a game. And then, as you can see, the 4 teams that got the bye did not play well in their games. They were down.
I disagree with that.
They were down 2 and 3 touchdowns.
I think that Arizona State showed up well. And they should have actually won that game.
But they had to come back. They were down 14-0. They had to come back. Their start was horrendous.
Yeah.
All 4 were down 14 or more points.
Okay.
To 0.
Yeah.
Now, Arizona State was the only team that came back and made it
Rick
competitive.
was trying to get his phone. He's got his phone going. So there you go. Yeah.
Fine.
So, okay, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I get that. But
Arizona State was the only one to come back and make it a game. The other 3 were blowouts.
They were.
okay, I'm throwing out the Georgia game because Georgia didn't have their starting quarterback that they had all year long, and still,
That's a whole nother story with the,
with what?
with the opt-outs.
It wasn't an opt out. They didn't have any opt outs.
Okay.
And like I said, their quarterback was done for the game. He couldn't play because he got hurt in the championship game 21 days ago, and he still couldn't make it in. He still couldn't get get healed to play that game.
Right.
So 2 of the games competitive. Oregon had chances to make that game competitive, and they did not.
Yeah, it was pretty much over by halftime.
Well, but score-wise, I think there was a lot of Dan Lanning errors in that first half, but we don't need to get into that. And then the what was the other game? The Boise State game and Penn State game. Yeah. That was a close game almost all the way through it until the end.
Right.
So it wasn't like these were blowouts. That game looked blowoutish on the scoreboard, but it was really until like the last part of the fourth quarter when Penn State kind of opened it up. And then you see what they were made of when they played Notre Dame.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So kind of crazy. 16 games or 16 team playoff. I'm kind of with you a little bit on that, but if we're going to go this far, let's just go a mini NFL, AFC, NFC divisions and stuff like that, and then do a real playoff.
Well, it's just a 1 week layoff. And I think that the teams earned it. So, the Kansas City and the Detroit's earned it. So they're in the number 1 seeds. So,
no, I have that. I'm just saying if we want to expand playoffs, the football playoffs. We're going to go 16, and there's going to be people grumbling about that, and then they're going to go, okay, what? It's going to be 64 teams like freaking the basketball tournament, or are you just going to make it 2 conferences just like the NFL? And you're going to have divisions just like the NFL and play it that way.
No, I agree. I think part of what my point is that it was new. This year it was new. I mean, I like 12 better than 4. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love it more. Maybe next year, it may turn out to be, the best, where you have 4 buys. You have 4 teams waiting there. But I mean, my vote right now is to switch it to 16 and have no buys.
Well, they could have started the playoffs a week earlier. But I don't know, was there a conflict between the NFL or not? I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't know. I can't answer that either. But I mean, you could
I don't see a conflict with anything. I mean, the NFL is, it's got its dominance, but let's just do it. Just no buys. Boom, boom, boom. Let's play.
I did. Okay. I did. Like I said, I did, with the buy thing, I did like the way they set it up. I liked the way the home teams were, in the first round. You're lucky to get into the playoffs. All right. And then neutral sites the rest of the way. I thought that was the way to go. I agree with that. And that's.
I think that makes sense because, they deserve it. You do have the home. You should have the home field if you're that much better than the other teams. But, there's got to be something for these teams that are way higher ranked at the top of it.
Well, they got extra time. They got extra time. They had extra practices.
Right.
They had, and they could see. They had plenty of time to see who they played.
Right.
There wasn't like it was you had to play them in 5 days.
Right.
But what about a reseeding after that first round? What do you guys think of that? I mean, that's what the NFL does. That's what the NFL does. They get 2 buys, and now the top seed Detroit and the top seed Kansas City are playing the lowest seed.
I think that's great.
But that's not what happened in college football,
right? And I think that's the difference. It should be like that. I think you're right. It should go. I
think it turned out right. I mean, because Ohio State was 8.
No, but Oregon was the number 1 team. They should have played the worst seed of the winning teams on the first week. That's what the pros do.
Did they not?
Who was the lowest seed?
Who was the lowest seed that moved on?
I thought it was Ohio State.
I thought it was Ohio State too.
I thought they were number 8 and they were the lowest seed of all of them. I don't know if that was just coincidence. I don't know if that was made that way, but I think they were the lowest seed.
But what if 12 would have beat 5? It still would have stayed the same. You see what I'm saying? The bracket was set.
No,
the bracket was set. The 8 and 9, which is Ohio State, was the 8-9 seed plays the number 1 seed.
Yeah, right. And that's the way they do it.
What if there was an upset?
Do it in college basketball.
But what if there was an upset? I'm just saying that the pros reseed after the first round.
No, they do reseed, and I do like that.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, and if Oregon turned out to be playing the highest seed, in the next round, then I think that would be perfect. But that's not what happened. They set the college football set the bracket before. So if there was an upset, somebody could have played the 12 seed.
They could have.
Right.
And, I got to put the bracket up in front of my face to see it. I mean, and I apologize for not knowing it off the top of my head.
None of the lower seeds won in the first round.
Correct. I mean,
and the lowest seed was Ohio State that came out of the first round.
Yeah. But I think that was coincidental that they ended up playing the number 1 seed.
Well, no, you go 8-9 because, and stuff like that. They're the higher, if the higher seeds would have won.
Right.
The higher seeds won in the first round and the lower seeds won in the second round. All of them.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
The lower seeds all won their match.
I think there's a flaw.
Herm Edwards. That's why you play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
I just think that, I mean, we only have 1 year, so we only have one sample. So it's a limited sample. But I don't think that anybody could have predicted that none of the top 4 teams won
Right.
in the second round.
Probably not. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't get mad at me. I'm just being devil's advocate. Say Texas was the number 1 team and it wasn't your Oregon Ducks. Would you still feel the same way about all this shit?
I'm still just not happy about the 3-week layoff.
Okay.
I
Whether it's Oregon or Oklahoma or
Anybody. Yeah,
Texas
I
or
just think
Michigan
anybody.
or whoever. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I know that, you've had plenty of time to
I might be a little
heal.
bitter. I might
Heal.
be a little bitter. As
You have
an
plenty
Oregon
of time
Duck
to
fan.
heal. Hell, me and Ricker's team weren't even in the playoffs, so mine won't even sniff in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. So, but yeah.
I mean, do I think the 2 best football teams that are playing right now are in the finals? I might give you that. I think that after losing to Michigan, Ohio State turned their season around. They got their head straight. That
was their last game of the season.
I know, but since then they played.
Yeah, they played
way
really
better
well.
football.
Yeah.
And they played really well.
Statistically, they're playing out of their minds right now.
Right.
Compared, if you compared to the Michigan game. Now everybody can say that it was a bad game. They had a bad game. Okay,
And they have a K-State quarterback, and I reiterate that all the time.
I've coached young kids in all levels of sports, and you do have a game. I mean, every season it seems like when I was coaching that your team just doesn't perform a game. You don't know sometimes why.
At home against a rival.
Yeah, you at home.
Okay, I'm just asking, man.
I'm just saying. But they're kids. And,
I know they're
and
kids.
it blows you away how you feel
They're
like
paid kids.
You feel like as a coach, you prepare every week the same. And whether it's against the rival or, against the rival, you might say there's no excuse, right? Because that week there was no layoff. The coaches didn't go, oh, we're playing the last, a team that's 0-7.
I don't know if there was buys or anything.
I mean,
before
there's been some major upsets, of BCS beating, the big boys. And you can say that the big boys took the lesser team lightly and got beat. But no, Michigan and Ohio State, Ohio State knew they had to play their game, but they just didn't play a great game. They just all around didn't do it. I've had it happen to me as a coach. You just go that day, that Saturday, that Friday night when I was coaching high school football, you just go, something happened and we did not perform well. Yeah. And you don't sense it before. I mean, as a coach, I didn't sense it before. And then all of a sudden the game's over. An hour later, you're going, what the F happened?
Yeah. But, you got Ohio State, Michigan.
But they're kids.
And it's like, no, they're paid kids. They're professionals.
Now
They're professionals. I'm sorry. They're
Nowadays.
professionals. But, as what's the saying, styles make fights. They do. They say, and styles do make fight. Michigan style, that's like, it's hard for Ohio State to freaking match up. It has been for the last, I don't know how many years. 3 or 4 or 5?
5. Yeah.
So styles do make fights. And then, they can always beat Penn State, who right now I think is a better team than Michigan was. But you know what?
Oh yeah.
But or Oklahoma, of course. But they have a coach, man, that's a perennial choker. They have some big thinking to do because this guy cannot win games against ranked opponents. What's your thought on that, being a former coach, dude? James Franklin.
Well, I think overall Ryan Day is a hell of a coach. I think he has a problem.
Ryan Day.
Who are you talking
I was talking
about?
about James Franklin from Penn State.
Well, yeah, he's had
Can't win the big game.
well, and Ryan Day hasn't won the big game yet. Lost to Michigan.
Okay.
Does not have a national championship yet,
True.
but he's got a chance come this Monday.
So the last one that won it was Bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Pervin liar.
As Jim Rome calls him. Yeah, Pervin liar, as Jim Rome calls him. I just call him Bourbon.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, old dude.
Well, no, I mean, I put Ryan Day and James Franklin in the same category. And I think the opposite of that is Marcus Freeman, the coach of Notre Dame. I think
Who I am impressed with, by the way.
Very much.
in his 30s, doing what he's doing, he could. No, I mean, let's just use age. He could be the youngest head coach to ever win the national championship. Now, you can also say that he's a minority doing it as well, and so let's give props where props are due.
Well, Pete, that was brought up to him, and he's like, it's
That's
not
got
even
nothing
a
to
thing.
do with it.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and I mean, I agree. I know what you're
saying,
didn't mean
though.
it to be.
Yeah.
I would love it to be, colorblind. And I love it.
You're a college basketball fan, right, LD?
He earned it. He earned it. There's a meritocracy, and he's a very, very, very good coach.
He is.
And but you were talking about James Franklin. I think Ryan Day is in the same boat. Ryan Day has lost a lot of big
Ryan
games.
Day's won top 10 matchup games, though.
He has.
Okay.
But not the biggest
JF
on the biggest
hasn't.
stage.
Ryan Day just beat Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, in the Rose Bowl. That's a pretty big freaking win. I mean, that's not, peanuts.
The number one
if
thing in
anybody's
his
sounding
job
like I'm an
description,
Ohio State
the very
honk,
first
I
line.
am not. I fucking hate Ohio State.
No.
Okay, so I'm not. Don't be thinking that I'm a honk for Ohio State, because I'm not. I'm just saying, though, at least Ryan Day has won some top 10 matchup games.
What's the number one thing on his job description? Beat.
Michigan.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Sherrod Brown.
Thank you.
He won that matchup.
How can you be the
So
coach?
who's James Franklin's competitor or rival game like that? I don't know. I don't know. I never heard of a Penn State whatever
Rivalry.
like an Oklahoma Texas, like a Oregon Washington, like Michigan Ohio State, and like Alabama Auburn. You don't hear that.
Well, it
with
used
Penn
to be
State.
Penn State was Penn State and Notre Dame.
Well, Penn State and Notre Dame both used to be independents.
Right.
Correct.
And that used to be their rivalry, and I don't know if they have
Hell,
one since they've been in the
anybody
Big Ten.
can pick Ohio State Notre Dame for a rivalry back then, because they had rivalries with
USC.
Michigan. They had USC and they had Stanford for that matter.
Yeah.
And they had all this other stuff, because, being the independents. But I'm not sure who Penn State has a rivalry with. So you go into the season, Penn State goes, okay, we're going to beat. Hang on, let me.
Yeah, that's it. I can't think.
Shit, I can't. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I just want to circle back to that. How can you be the coach of a team that's playing in the national championship game in college football, and if you lose, you might get fired?
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. That's Ohio State for you. They're piles. They're piles of shit over there.
Agreed.
You're not going
Agreed.
to
That's what I'm saying.
You're not going to get an argument from me.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
You're number one.
If you're Ohio State, go ahead. I'm sorry, but I got a point to make after you're done.
Well, I'm just going to say, on his job description, number 1, 2, and 3 is what? Beat Michigan.
yeah.
I guarantee you that if you beat Michigan 10 years in a row and you never won a national championship, Ohio State would never fire you.
Absolutely. I don't think that's even. Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
El Dude is pontificating today.
Oh, are you now
I mean, I'm sorry.
pontificating?
I'm sorry. And in the big picture, it pisses me off.
Jeffy McJefferson has a question for the pontificator. Okay, so Ryan Day loses the national championship game Monday and gets fired, allegedly. Okay, who are you gonna get better? Who are you gonna get better than that?
I don't know.
He's a top 5 team every freaking year that he's been at Ohio State. I said, not an Ohio State honk. I hate the fuckers, but I'm just making my point here.
You challenged my pontification.
Well,
so here we go.
then.
I don't think he'll get fired, but I think that he will be on the hot seat
I'm just saying if
going
he did,
into next year.
if
I don't
they're
think he
dumbass
will.
enough to fire him, who are they? Who can you replace him with? Honestly, Bourbon coming back.
No. And anytime you're thinking about firing a coach, no matter where you're at, what level, whatever, you have to have what is the next coach in mind.
Sure,
Right.
I mean, otherwise, don't do it. I mean,
this is a big time program, man. You're going to be taking, and you haven't beaten Michigan, but you've made it to national championships games, and you've done this. Go ahead.
Okay, since we're tangenting and we're going into conjecture.
It's always does
and we're
this,
going. I know I do this. I'm sorry.
I do this. We all do this. This
All right.
is what we do.
All right, you want me to throw a name out?
Yeah,
All right, Ben Johnson,
I think
offensive
that's
coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
think that's a
would
great
be
pick.
a great Ohio State football coach.
I think he would be a greater Oklahoma University coach. So I think that's great.
But I mean, if you're going to put out, the what if, let's go there. I mean,
Okay.
there's lots. Definitely, I think
Now,
that
who
it would be
who
one
from
of
the NFL would want to come back to college in this chaotic bullshit with NIL and transfer portal and shit like that? That's why Chip Kelly went from a coach, head coach, to offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're gonna, go,
tells you something, I
If we're
think.
just gonna go into the la la land of what if,
No,
I
that's
mean, that, I think there's some offensive coordinators in the NFL that might be attractive to Ohio State. Now, you bring up a humongous point in that the whole thing with NIL. I don't think any NFL coach would go back to college.
Nope.
So I don't think Ryan Day is going to get fired. I don't think Ryan Day is going to get fired. But if he loses to Michigan next year, he will get fired.
Yeah.
After the game or after the season? Even if he wins an NC, if he takes home a natty.
Even if he wins this Monday night, if he loses to Michigan next year, next year, if he wins the natty and loses to Michigan.
No, I'm talking about next year. If he loses to Michigan and then wins the natty, is he going to get fired?
So back-to-back natties?
Yeah.
No, he won't
That's,
get fired
that's
with
what I'm
back-to-back
talking about.
natties. But if he does not, if they lose to Michigan and again next year, they will put his head up.
He will have to be careful if he comes to Oklahoma with that Sharpie beard because it gets really hot and humid and that thing will run down and stuff like that. So you may want to just
Permatize it.
Just instead of using the Sharpie, maybe go just for men. And so because it does get hot and humid down there. But anyway,
Hey, once a man dyes his hair, he can't stop. I mean, that's because once
Is that
he
true?
Yeah. After 10 years of dyeing your hair and you don't dye your hair, people think you got cancer.
Hey, let's dye our hair.
No thanks.
Us three don't have no hair.
I got hair.
No kidding.
I got hair.
We got I got hair
Dude, I
too.
can grow
I got
my
hair
hair
too.
I had long hair, but yeah, let's dye it. Yeah, we want to dye it. I'm not going to go purple and shit like that.
Well, if you're going to
Speaking of purple, that's another reason I don't think that Ohio State's going to win the national championship, because they have a purple quarterback. Kansas State quarterback winning a title.
Okay.
Come on.
So you're saying you're a big Notre Dame fan?
I'm a
Absolutely.
huge Notre Dame fan Monday.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I put a couple of extra coats of gold paint on there so you can like really stick them in the ribs with those sons of bitches.
Right.
My heart wants Notre Dame, but it's going to be a blowout. Not even going to be close.
I think Notre Dame's defense is way better than everybody thinks.
I think every time the Notre Dame quarterback goes back to pass, he's going to
get hammered.
He's going to have 7 Ohio State guys meeting him back there.
We'll see.
Their offensive line is not even as. It's sad that, I mean, they have the injuries that they have on the offensive line.
Actually, since those guys have gotten injured and those 2 replacements they've had less sacks ever since those guys have been installed.
I see Notre Dame scoring 10 points. Game over.
In the first 15 minutes.
Game over.
You really think so?
Game over. It's
okay.
It's an Ohio State blowout. They're playing so good on defense. I don't think any team could beat them, even if they're playing well.
You don't think that Marcus Freeman's putting the game plan together just like Michigan did against them?
I think so.
And let me tell you something, Michigan's defense doesn't have the players that
Notre Dame
has.
does. Yeah.
So that's another thing to think. Okay, I you know, do we hope for a blowout? Yes. Do we hope it's Notre Dame? Yes.
Well, I actually hope for a great game. I mean, I want it to come down to the fourth quarter. So
I'm a big
I'll be fine with Ohio State going home to Columbus.
That's another thing. You know, I love blowouts. If the team if my team is doing it and stuff like and stuff like that, I don't mind them.
Yeah.
I think that they're awesome. I've been on the back end of those things with my
Right.
and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I love blowouts. So now, what we have today too is we have the NFL playoffs. I'm going to rotate there because we all already made our picks. You pick, Dude. You're thinking Ohio State's going to blow them out. Ricker, you think Ohio State's going to win this damn thing?
I think it's going to be competitive.
I'm picking Notre Dame.
I want to see Notre Dame, but I think it's going to at least be close.
I think that their defense is going to surprise. This is my and everybody can roast me afterwards, and that's fine. But I think their defense is going to surprise, and I think they're going to end up winning this game.
So you both are Notre Dame. I think that's great. I think if Notre Dame does win the game, it's going to be close. I think they're gonna just barely win the game. I'm telling you right now that this game is over. Is Ohio State by 20?
Wow.
So I'm gonna drop this episode tonight. The thing is that we have the playoffs going on right now with Kansas City. I'm rotating to the NFL real quick. I don't want to go way deep inside the NFL right now. Well, we can, but on this NFL weekend too, we got Kansas City playing Texans. Now, full disclosure, we have watched part of the first quarter, and the Chiefs were up like what
6-3.
6-3.
Yep.
And then we have, like I said, we have Detroit tonight, right?
Yep.
So, what's everybody's thoughts on this after this weekend of NFL efforts?
I think it's going to be. I hate to say it. I think Kansas City's going to win today. I think the Lions will win. I think that Buffalo's going to get by Baltimore. I really do. I think that's going to happen. I know it's not.
They got blown out by them earlier this year. But
I understand
but
that,
was
but
in
they're-
Baltimore.
Yeah, and I think that they're playing a lot better than they were at that point in time. I just do. I think they're playing a lot better football. And what's the last game?
Eagles, Rams.
Eagles, Rams. I think they're going to destroy the Rams. I just do. I think Barkley's going to freaking run wild.
How about Saquon Barkley since he's been an Eagle? Holy shit!
I'm still shocked that the Giants let him go to somebody within their conference. It just seems insane. But
Too bad.
yeah, well, I don't know what to say.
What do you think, yo, dude?
All right. Well, I have a little different picture than you guys do.
Well, you don't know my picture yet.
True. Well,
I think you probably have an idea.
Ricker just gave. I just know that from talking a little bit off the podcast with you, Vic Jefferson, that I think mine's a little different than yours.
Okay.
As the college football final, I'm going with the favorite, thinking it's going to be a blowout.
Sure.
When it comes to NFL, I got a couple underdogs that I'm really, really high on. I think that
I'd like to hear this.
I think KC will pull it out today. I'm definitely going to say right now that Washington beats the Detroit.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa. That's
Okay.
I definitely am going to say right now that this is Lamar Jackson's time, and they are going to beat the Buffalo Bills at home.
Wow.
And I'm going
Okay.
to stick with the favorites and go with Philly. I just think that right now, Barkley is the addition that pushes them to the divisional finals.
and get
and,
into the.
And then we'll talk about next week's podcast.
Well, we're gonna.
But there you go. I've got two underdogs. I got the Commanders winning, and I got the Ravens winning. It's very different than.
And you got
Mr.
the Chiefs and the
Chiefs and
the Eagles.
And Eagles. That's my four picks. A little different than Ricker's.
Yeah, it is.
College football. I'm going with the favorite.
Notre
The
Dame,
NFL.
yeah, boy, yeah,
The NFL,
boy.
the NFL. I'm seriously. I think it's Lamar Jackson's time. I think that you're gonna see some Commander love in the Michigan Stadium there, and
Okay.
Detroit. And I just think that if they let the Commanders hang around, that my rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, will come through. And
I'll give you
Jared
that.
Goff will be just almost good enough as he has been his whole career.
You did take him to the Super Bowl. That's all good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got mine.
Yep.
I think that the Chiefs will squeak by today. I mean, it's maybe a blowout right now. I don't even know. Because everything goes through KC.
Right.
Tonight, I think it's easily the Lions. And the reason I say that is because the Commanders have a shitty run defense. And if you got a guy named Jamar Gibbs, he'll light it up, and then they'll figure
Montgomery's
out
coming back,
a
too.
way for Amon Ra and all that stuff. Their offense is just too good, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
As for tomorrow, we have the Bills, and they got their asses blown out by the Ravens, but it's not Lamar Jackson's time because Lamar Jackson's time is regular season. Lamar Jackson's time is never playoff time. Lamar Jackson's time is going to end in Orchard Park. And then we have the Eagles and Rams. And it's going to be Saquon time again. I know they're going to, the Rams defense was freaking awesome against, Sam Darnold. And, boy, isn't that Sam Darnold good. Anyway, so the Rams defense they got a young defense and they're really good. This isn't going to be Sam Darnold. This is going to be Jalen Hurts. He'll pass for 115 yards.
Right.
Maybe a touchdown. And freaking A.J. Brown will read another book on the sideline.
Right.
And just hand it to Saquon and say, here you go, my brother. And I can't believe how good this defense has gotten this
absolutely.
year.
The
because
Eagles have
they
great
had the
defense.
shittiest, slowest-ass defense last year. And how they managed to come up with this defense, and I'm not really sure too many people have talked about this, but they have come up with a fast defense and a really good defense after their defense was like slower than molasses and snail snot, whatever you want to call it. So that's my picks for this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we have three people that have three opinions, and I think I'm the only one going on a limb. I think you guys are all just going favorites, and you're boring, and you need to do a little more analysis. But
Well, wait a second. You're going with Ohio State.
now, come on, we're talking NFL.
Well,
Okay,
but you're
okay.
going. You got to
yeah.
forget.
Okay, on
I am taking-
NFL,
I am
okay, on
taking-
NFL, we're going kind of chalk.
We
You
don't.
know-
Yeah, you and
Well, no,
I.
I don't even know
One thing I just want to just reiterate there is just that I know you guys disparaged, Sam Darnold. If I'm getting sacked 9 times
Yeah.
and we lose the game, it's not the quarterback.
Yeah. Did you watch a game?
I did.
I did too. And
He couldn't get rid of the
about
ball.
5 or 6 of those sacks are Sam Darnold's fault.
Yeah, absolutely. He was sliding up in the pocket.
He didn't even
way too
slide.
far.
He didn't slide. Troy Aikman even said. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sam Darnold sucks.
I'm just saying, give a little slack to Sam Darnold.
Nope.
When you go back to pass and there's more defenders around you than your blockers, there's something
Yeah.
wrong.
Then why not
There's
just slip a
something
screen out there? Then you should have a touchdown.
All right.
Sam Darnold couldn't do that. So.
Let's go. Let's go Ravens Bills. Let's dissect
Good.
that a little bit.
You want to
Let's
dissect
play.
it for a second?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
I love it that you go regular season. Most of the time when he has struggled in the playoffs, he has dealt with injuries. And he's been hampered by injuries in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson is the most gifted athlete and most gifted NFL player I've ever seen in my life. When healthy. He's healthy. Buffalo's going down.
Gifted.
Well, see, we're the ones who are taking the underdogs in that one. Bills are the underdogs.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the biggest crap I've ever seen. Buffalo at home cannot be an underdog. I'm sorry.
I think they are.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
just saying.
dissect it a little bit. Lamar Jackson sucks in the playoffs, and he sucks when it counts. He's not gonna get there. He's gonna
be a 3-time MVP.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Jared, no. Who's going to beat him?
Jared Allen.
Well, he won the MVP
Jared
last
Allen.
year.
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Oh, Josh Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen. We said Jared Allen. Yeah, it's Josh Allen. I can't even believe I said Jared Allen, too.
I'm thinking Jared Goff.
We were combining them both.
I'm just going to say that Lamar Jackson healthy.
Why?
Lamar Jackson healthy is the most gifted NFL football player I've ever watched at the quarterback position. when healthy. I'm going to say that.
Interesting.
Now, I'm going to say something else that's going to blow you away. And
I don't know. After that, I don't know if you will.
my 21-year-old son can verify this. I've said that no running quarterback will ever win the Super Bowl. And I think that if Lamar Jackson, and I say that because they can't stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. I think that over a 16, 17 game season, the running quarterback
Mahomes
is going to get killed.
What about Steve
my
Young?
God. Oh my God.
Steve Young.
Steve Young runs.
What is okay? The complimentary players are on Steve Young.
Oh my!
Come on, but you're saying that a running quarterback
We're
can't win.
incredible. He had running backs. He had wide receivers that were Hall of Fames. Come on. I mean, but I'm just say this. I'm just say this. A healthy Lamar Jackson
Eats chunky soup.
will be it. Well, not only is he going to be a Hall of Famer, but if he stays, if he can stay healthy, I pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
No,
I agree. He will get to the Super Bowl.
he will get there.
Who's he handing off to this year?
No. I'm just talking about he's going to have to. I know he's handing off to Derrick Henry. Yeah,
Tackle that son of a bitch.
I have. No, I haven't. That's a lie. So yeah, that's a lie.
You'd have a tread mark on your face.
I'd rather. Yeah.
As a former linebacker, I don't want to tackle that guy.
As a former anything, I wouldn't want to tackle that guy. So anyway, no, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Well, he could, I guess. I mean, now that the game has changed,
He's a great player.
he's a good player.
When healthy, he's the most talented NFL player I've ever seen in my life.
Only thing I can agree on, he has improved his passing, but other than that, he's not.
Yeah,
He's been helped.
yeah. He has his passing has improved.
He's been helped by the rules, and he's been helped by probably once. If he ever, we've seen what happened when he lost the University of Oklahoma tight end Mark Andrews, and he couldn't do it.
I can't wait till next week's podcast
Can't
when
you?
the Commanders and the Ravens are still alive.
Ricker ain't going to be here.
I don't need to be here. It's not going to happen. He may.
Commanders.
I just. I'm not picking a blowout, but I think it could be. It could get way away from the Commanders. If it's close, yeah, I'll give you the fact that it may be a toss-up. But if they don't jump out and get to a big lead, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for the Commanders. They're going to. The Lions have the running game to freaking grind.
Take it.
They're going to grind. They can grind. They don't
Grit.
have
It's
to
grit.
freaking.
That's what Campbell calls it. It's grit.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun game, and the reason why I'm saying that is these are the two most go for it on fourth down coaches in the league. Nobody can touch that shit.
Yeah.
Even Andy the fat walrus snot frozen down his nose last year. Reed, can't beat that.
No.
God, I hate the Chiefs.
I'm with you.
I've never, back when I lived in Oklahoma, I didn't really give one way or another about the Chiefs until I lived there and shit like that and met a lot of Chiefs fans. And some of them are great friends of mine still to this day, but they suck. Chief fans I'm talking about.
Right.
Can't stand the sons of bitches. I hate it that they got good. And they go, yeah, you're jealous, motherfucking fat bastard. Yeah, you're damn right. I am jealous.
We'll see Tuesday morning. Is it the Commanders, the Ravens, and the whole Ohio State Buckeyes?
Buckwheats.
In a blowout.
Okay.
We'll see.
So we got it. Well, you're coming over next week then, right?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
let's go ahead and recap everything. And so, all right. Well, hell, this has been interesting.
Yeah.
This went longer than I thought. At first, when we started talking, I thought this thing ain't going to last 20 minutes, man. But, of course, I was wrong.
Always.
Only on that. Not on the NFL and college football.
You're wrong about music, too, because that
I
stupid
love
crap that you started yesterday.
Yeah. Well, this is going to go down in lore as one of England and John Ford Coley's best podcast ever. I'm sure they're going to love it. I'm sure their families are going to love it. And they might even have some hot grand chicks. Anyway. We love
Where
you
in the
guys.
fuck do you come up with this shit?
We love you guys. We're out.